Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about why being friends with your ex is a trap.
It's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. All my Admiral Akbar fans out there.
I thought it was from Futurama. He's like, it's from Star Wars. So Futurama probably got it from Star Wars.
Yes. It's a very famous Star Wars quote. It's a funny part.
I got to get with it.
So many times after a breakup, your ex will say things like, I don't want to lose you. Can we just stay friends? I just don't want to lose you from my life.
It's a very common go-to for exes.
Yeah. And they can do that for different reasons. They like knowing that you're still there, that they're not really losing you. Sometimes it's just them easing their own guilt that they really don't want to be friends.
Yeah, and it could be a soft landing type of breakup where they're not fully ready to let go of you, and the idea of never seeing you again or really having you out of their life is really scary. But, you know, they want to still have a little bit of that friendship, a little bit of you being in their life still without fully letting go.
Yep.
So it could be something that's really scary for them too, and it could be for them a way to kind of wean themselves off of you on their terms.
That's right.
At their pace without having to show up to you as a partner, you know, or as a girlfriend or boyfriend.
You don't want them to be able to wean you off at their pace. If anything, I'd rather you pull the rug out from under them by not agreeing to it.
Yeah. And for them, it could be this kind of emotional crutch, and it could be a way for them to avoid that separation anxiety because they go through that too. You know, they've also been very close with you, and, you know, we talk about how even on a physiological level, you get close to how someone smells and you get used to that, and that gets familiar, their voice, the habits that the two of you created. So it's also hard for them too, but they're wanting space, but on their terms. So I agree with not agreeing to friendship if you want to repair that romantic relationship. And my point of view on this is that we want you to be authentic with what you want in a relationship. Many of you that are agreeing to friendship really want a relationship, but are just settling for that de-escalated version of the relationship because you're afraid to lose them too.
Yeah.
And this can cause a lot of damage later down the line.
Yeah, because you're not being authentic. If you want to really be with that person and then you agree to settling for less, that's exactly what you're going to get is less. Now, I know there were coaches in the past that would say, stay friends with your ex. Unfortunately, in our experience, it doesn't work because now they're like, oh, you're my backup and I'm going to look and see what else is out there and not really feel the loss of their consequence. And meanwhile, you're desperately wanting to talk to them and hoping that the friendship is going to really repair things. It usually doesn't happen.
Yeah. And we also see the repercussion on your end too, you all as our clients, is we see how emotionally it keeps you in limbo. You know, it keeps you from really making a decision. It can really keep you from healing, from reflecting on the relationship, on growth, and it can really keep you stagnant and hurting for a longer period of time.
Yeah. I mean, do you really want to sit there and listen to them talk about the new people that they're dating? Because that's what friends do.
Yeah.
You know?
And it can continuously trigger those feelings of rejection. You know, many of you, while being friends, you still, you know, try to make passes or try to advance the relationship to no avail because they're still seeing, oh, I could still, you know, ease my separation anxiety. I could still have this person in my life and I don't have to agree to a relationship. So it just works on their terms.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can't heal in the environment that broke you. Meaning friendship requires a lot of that emotional maturity, and it really requires them to be able to communicate in ways, and you're still going to have needs that you had in the relationship. So you're going to have to be okay with having a lot less demand on your partner when their role is not one of a partner.
Yeah. And, you know, so many things will change in that dynamic. Like, what would be the expectations? How often would you be talking or seeing each other? How open are you going to be? You know, there's so many things that are like confusing because for many of us, the person that you're dating, it's not like you were friends with them for a long time first.
Right.
You know, and now you're going to all of a sudden take off this romantic component of it or this emotional connection and just it will really keep you from moving on, because
Yeah.
you're always just going to be wondering, like, well, after they're broken up with this new person, will we date? Or the next new person, are we going to date? Or you know what I mean? Or maybe they're just hooking up with you in between people that they're getting serious with, or not telling you, right?
That's another one.
Right? They're not telling you that they're dating other people. You think that you're repairing things, and it's not
Yes.
going there.
That does happen.
And then they're like, but we said we were going to be friends.
Yep. And that's something that I see a lot is you might be making those attempts towards growth, towards learning more relationship skills, towards reflecting on the relationship, all of these things. And then they might have that conversation with you that's, well, we discussed being friends and, I told you what it was and you shouldn't be surprised. And then things can become, a lot more challenging for you
Yeah.
and not fair to you at that point.
Yeah, it's a year and a half later, and you're just hearing all this. Mm-hmm. I've seen it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't advocate for you to staying friends with your ex. If that's not what you truly, truly want, and you have to be authentic with yourself, if you do not want to be friends, don't be friends.
Yeah. Yep. Because it really prevents them from feeling the loss. If you're always available as a friend, they're never going to wonder what life is like without you. They're never going to have that experience and be able to make a decision on their end too. So being in this kind of friend zone, this friend zone, if you will. I'm not the biggest fan of the word friend zone.
And here you are.
Then here I am talking about the zone, the friend zone. But being in this friend zone can really keep both of you from the clarity that you need. And this can be really confusing for a longer period of time rather than just taking the distance that both of you need to really reflect on the relationship without, having those interactions that can confuse things. So space is really that only thing that allows that true reflection and for you to be able to maintain your respect and, in my opinion, ultimately your authenticity and the type of relationship that you want.
Yeah. And if you get confused and you're really wondering, like, is this something that I should do? Just remember to take a step back and think about, okay, let's say you go along with this situation. Are you really going to be happy? Or are they going to be happy? Mm-hmm. Or are both of you going to be happy? Probably not. One of you is probably going to be unhappy, and it's probably going to be you because you're settling for less than what you want. In my opinion, it's more effective strategy-wise and for your own mental health and well-being to walk away, focus on personal growth, look at what went wrong, figure out what you'd have to do to have a healthy relationship with this person again, and let them see what life is like without you. Mm-hmm. Let them feel that loss. Let them feel those consequences. And then if they come back, you slowly try and repair things and show them, look, there's so much great here that, friendship is part of our relationship, but it can't be the only part because I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we know it's so hard to say no to friendship. We have another video that's titled, I'll take what I can get from my ex.
Yeah.
I think about that one often.
Do you?
Yeah, because it's true. When we're losing someone and we have that idea of, oh my gosh, I might not see this person again, it can really send us into that kind of terror, and we do accept less than what we want. We say okay to things where we're not really thinking about our own self-respect. We're not really thinking about our own emotional future and our own emotional state. We're just kind of thinking, I'll say anything to get a little bit more time or to get a response or to get their attention. You have to think about the longer term here. Yes, you might be inclined to say, okay, we can be friends just to have a little bit more access to them, but think about the long-term effects of this. All of this being said, I know I'm always talking about a caveat. There are certain communities that are more difficult to not be friends with exes. Smaller communities, the queer community is a big one where people tend to stay friends with exes because the community is, tight knit and small depending on where you live.
Yeah.
And so give each other space. If you are in a community that it's very difficult to not interact, or if you live in a very small town or something like that, give
Sometimes you're working with them.
Space. Sometimes you're working with them. You have to be able to give things space. I think it can be a lot more trickier in those communities because you likely see them more often or have a higher probability of running into them. And so you're more likely to want to invade their space or, do something to bump into them or have a reason to be friends with them. Give it space. And if a friendship were to happen a while later, that happens organically.
Like years later.
Yes. then give it that time. But I would say to the general public, think about what kind of relationship you want and don't settle for a de-escalated version of that relationship if that is not what you want. Think about the long term.
I want to get one more point in here too
Yes.
that I don't think we covered. You're likely going to hear this from an avoidant more than you are from an anxious or a secure person. Because for them, that's a situation that's wonderful for them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting all the space that I want. And then here we have some closeness here and there, and I know that I still have you in my life.
And I can avoid the guilt of breaking up with you because you're totally fine. We're just friends now.
So I don't usually see anxious people saying they want to be friends when it's not what they want.
Yeah.
But it does happen.
Yeah.
All right. So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. If you'd like to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.